welcome back to the Clock End Talk, an Arsenal podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. You'll follow us at clockend_talk on Twitter. We're also on Facebook and YouTube. You can download our podcast on every good podcast app. YouTube, Facebook have a little player there. So Spotify is also available. So wherever a podcast is, you should be able to find us. Each and every week, I'm joined by Tony. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, thanks. You?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. It's not really every week, is it? It's about 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, well, it will. Yeah, but then it'll be every month or so coming after next week.
Yeah, exactly. And Schwinn isn't joining us today, so we're on the rotating stool, and we've got Shree with us. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, thanks, Des. Thanks for having me on the podcast today. No,
that's fine, mate. Okay, let's get into this game, Tony. Europa League, Valencia 3-1. We'll start with the starting lineup, mate. You're happy there?
Yeah, I can't. The one criticism I would have is Guendouzi over Torreira, but I think he thought that Valencia were going to park the bus. I mean, if you saw them at Old Trafford earlier in the season, I know it was Champions League and it's a group stage, so it's a bit different, but they completely came for a draw and ended up getting it. So I think he thought we would prefer someone who passes the ball a little bit better and not so much of a defensive reinforcement. And ultimately, he was wrong, but this is not a criticism because I thought Valencia were going to park the bus as well. So it's one of them where you could argue that the selection was wrong, but I'm not going to do it in hindsight and go, oh, you should have started him when... As I said, at the time, I probably thought, yeah, I can see exactly what he's doing.
Just on Guendouzi, look, I'll give the kid a bit of a hard time the last couple of shows. El Neni or Guendouzi?
Guendouzi. I mean, look, I'm not a big Guendouzi fan. I think people go so over the top about him. And I remember saying it. I don't know why this came into my head last night. I remember on like our second or third show of the season, we had a live caller who I essentially had an argument with because I said the thing is with Guendouzi, every sentence has to end with for a 19-year-old. And I said I didn't want that. I just wanted someone that was good, not good for a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that came into my head yesterday because obviously they then went on to do a podcast saying that Tony from Clock End Talk said Guendouzi's the shittest player ever, and which obviously I didn't say.
Yep.
But yeah, look, he is better than El Neni and he is a decent player. But when you start going good or potentially world class, which is some of the craziness I've seen people say. As I said, you have to. I mean, he's 20 now, but this sentence always had to end with for a 19-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Shree, your thoughts on the lineup, mate?
I'm actually one of those annoying people who doesn't have a thought on the lineup until we actually line up on the pitch. There was something going on before the start of the game that we were playing a back four. I think UEFA released a lineup where they had us lining up as a back four with Mustafi as a right back. I obviously thought we were going to play a back five, which made a lot of sense considering who we had available for this game. I would have preferred if we had played one up top with two behind them, but considering both Mickey and Iwobi were shit pretty much the whole of last 3 weeks, I think it made sense to just go with Ozil and have Lacazette and Aubameyang, both of them. But otherwise, yeah, I didn't have any complaints. There was no head scratchers. I could understand the rotation between Guendouzi, Xhaka and Torreira. I think that's been going on for a while now, that no one plays back-to-back games. So it made sense to me.
Tony, this is the first time I've actually looked at our bench and thought we've got options. Look, when I say first time in about probably since Ramsey's got injured.
No, I mean, it's only been 2 weeks.
3 weeks, yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess that you look at who has started and the bench looks stronger because Torreira's there. Obviously, you've got Mickey and Iwobi there because he's decided to start Aubameyang, Lacazette and Ozil all together. So it's just, I think that's a case of because who's starting. I mean, we still have no goals from the bench, which has been our problem for the last few weeks. You look at, if we are behind, you look at who's on the bench to change it, and the highest goal scorer on the bench in every one of our last, I think, well, probably for a long time, has been a defender. Like, even yesterday, as much as I agree with you, our bench was stronger, but the top scorer for look, Mickey is the top scorer.
Well, he'd have more than a Wobie.
It would have been Monreal.
Yeah, Monreal, yeah. Look, first 10 minutes, I was shitting myself. We'll get straight in. Look, Valencia, they got the first goal, 11th minute, Tony. At that point, I'm thinking, here we go.
To be honest, we should have been 3-0 down. Garai's chances, I don't know how he's missed it. If the ball just hits him, it goes in. I literally have no idea how it went over. And then Maitland-Niles' attempted header backwards was very, very bad. And Guedes, who everyone goes on about, I've never seen much in him. Every time I've seen him, I've not been impressed. But I mean, he's a 35, £40 million footballer. Everyone seems to rate him. Started for Portugal in the World Cup. You can't miss chances like that. And then they eventually get their goal, which I'm still not sure if it's bad defending or not. Because once you accept we defend zonally, which there's the arguments about that. That's a separate issue. We defend zonally. Once you accept that, it's kind of, is it bad defending, or have they just really worked around the zones well? So they put it to the back post beyond the furthest zone, and then it's headed back across to a guy who I assume is about 87 foot tall, because he was head and shoulders above everyone else. Like, as soon as he walked out, I've never heard of him, so I don't know the player. But he walked out, and it looked like he was an adult playing with children. He was about a foot taller than everyone else. So I've seen some criticism for Mustafi, Xhaka and Lacazette because there were sort of three of them in the area and Diakabi's beat them in the air. But, I mean, just he's so much taller than all of them. You'd expect that. You'd expect him to win that header every time. So I'm really not sure if it is bad defending or not. I kind of feel like it is, but then when I break it down, I'm like, well, is it?
It's yeah. Look, and I was doing much the same, because I was thinking, in my, after I watched it, I straight up, fucking, there's a goal off a set piece again. We just look so fucking shit defending set pieces. But then after I seen the replay, I'm thinking, were we that bad at defending that set piece? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just, yeah, one of them things. Shree, what was your take on it, mate?
I had two thoughts on this. I think the one thing is that there was definite lack of athleticism in our box when you're defending set pieces. So the three people who were on Diakabi on that one were Mustafi, Xhaka, and Lacazette. None of them is super athletic to probably jump up or even match. Again, what Tony said, Diakabi was easily a foot taller than everyone else, so it's going to be a tough ask. But even then, you would want someone really athletic on him, and they're not. And they did the exact same routine where they try to put the ball across and then get it into the box for someone to score. And we got undone both the times. So I think they definitely had a set routine to figure out how to break the zonal system, and then I bring it down to lack of athleticism.
It's an interesting point, lack of that.
I mean, just my counter argument to that, in a way, is that for me, Mustafi, I'm not going anywhere near saying he's a good footballer, but I think he's our best attacker of a ball, like, in the air. You know, you always see him charging towards long ball, and he wins his fair share of headers. So, I mean, yeah, a lack of athleticism is a fair criticism, but if you'd have said to me you can have one of our defenders on him, it probably would have been Mustafi, if you could choose.
And to that point, yeah, I agree. That's what I was going to say, that the most athletic defender in our team as of now, or on the pitch at that point, was Mustafi, and he was the one who was farthest away. He was behind Diakabi, who was in, and if he had done anything to jump up, he would have probably ended up giving a penalty in that point. So it's he was just in the wrong position. if he was probably switched out with Xhaka, he could have jumped up and maybe won that ball, or even got in the way of or distracted Diakavi a little bit. But I mean, I don't have an answer to how we could have stopped that, but I think that could be one way to look at it.
18th minute, Lacazette scores, Aubameyang assists, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, we were still on the ropes at this point. It's not like we'd settled into the game. We were still on the back foot. And we broke at a speed we haven't done really for a long time. We used to be famed for sort of breaking at speed when we had the likes of, well, firstly, Anelka and Overmars, and then after that, Henri, Pires. And we've not really seen counter-attacking like that for a long, long time at Arsenal. Obviously, Ozil rolled it into Lacazette. Great turn by Lacazette for me, probably, and then a great ball. From my seat, I thought he'd overhit the ball. I thought Aubameyang weren't going to get there. I saw it again. I watched the highlights this morning, and it was pretty comfortable in the end. I guess it was just my viewpoint. The defender is poor defending. I mean, I know from an Arsenal point of view, we're going to say it's brilliant, but any defender should know you keep Aubameyang on his left foot. Like, it's just the absolute basics of defending against someone like Aubameyang. He's done very well to turn inside. I'd be pissed off if it was our defender that fell for that. And again, it's poor keeping. I don't know why he's came out when Aubameyang's got two people around him, but a great presence of mind for Aubameyang to not try and shoot and just tap it or lay it across to Lacazette, who had a very easy finish. But what I will say is, well, yeah, but Lacazette tends to not follow them balls up after he's played them. So I've got to give him credit, because I've criticised him so many times for not being in the right place, that when he has played that ball to Aubameyang, he's carried on his run. And that's put him in the position to get the tap in. Whereas too many times we often see Lacazette would still be in the centre circle or 40 yards out, and that goal then doesn't happen, or Aubameyang has to try and do something different. So fair play to him, and also fair play to Ozil, because he made a long bursting run, and it gets no credit because he didn't get the ball. He was not involved at all. But that run takes a defender away, and Ozil often gets criticised for being lazy and not running and whatnot. But runs like that off the ball, although it doesn't look like it plays a great part in the attack. If he's not there's another spare defender who can come in. And then instead of Aubameyang now having two people on him and no one on Lacazette, three people around Aubameyang, and he probably doesn't get the ball out. And still someone on Lacazette.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, look,
it's a huge part in that goal.
Yeah, you're just cutting in and out, but yeah, I hear exactly what you're saying. It was really good, by Ozil as well. I have to give him heaps of credit for yesterday as well. I thought he was pretty good, Ozil, and I've given him pretty, a fair bit of criticism over the time, but I thought, yesterday's game he was pretty good. I'm just trying to think. So 26th minute. We get, what a fucking ball by Granit, eh? What a ball, Shree. Talk us through this one, mate. You only have to hit the fucking mute button quicker, brother.
Yeah, my mouse died on me, so I'm using my touchpad, which fucking sucks.
All hanging by the knackers, waiting for you to fucking talk. Righto, mate. Talk us through that goal.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great goal. I think the cross in itself was really good, but heading that cross onto the ground and getting enough power on it is actually really, really good work by Lacazette. He missed a chance pretty similar to this one, where the ball was kind of dipping on him, and then he just completely missed the flight of it in the second half. But this one he did really, really good, really well on. And it was actually smart of him to hit it on the ground, because if he had tried to hit it up, I'm pretty sure he would have missed it, because it would have been really difficult to direct that one. I actually missed the build-up because I was working on something, and I suddenly looked up to the screen and it was already Lacazette had headed the ball, and it was the scramble that was going on. But a really, really good cross by Granit. I think he does that quite a bit. Most of the times, people just lose the battle, or they don't peel off from their defender. I think Lacazette again deserves credit for peeling off from his defender. I don't know if he peeled off or the defender just moved away from him. I don't exactly remember, but I thought it was I think the defender got lost in the flight of the ball and got drawn, and then was just wrong-footed. But really, really good goal. And again, I thought the goalkeeper got drawn to the ball a little bit, and that's why he was a little wrong-footed. But I may be wrong on that one. But good goal all in all.
Tony, last week we were discussing with Nick, about a ball-running midfielder, and then we see exactly what you were discussing last week is what Granite can do.
Well, this isn't it is for you, but this isn't a Granite Xhaka or fucking wank fest. But it's natural. The ball is going to get anywhere quicker than a man can. And look, there's a place in football for both. I just don't think this team would benefit from having a ball carrier over someone that can play the ball. If the argument is get someone that can do that with him, then or get a ball carrier and someone, a pass master or a playmaker or a deep line playmaker, then that's a different story. But I think this team benefits more from someone that can pass the ball. Look, let's be honest, Ramsey's arguably our best player. But had he been in the exact same position as Granite was yesterday, that goal doesn't happen.
No, I agree, exactly. Agree. Now, I want to talk, Tony, there was a couple of... Look, and I don't want to criticise Lacazette because, look, he got the 2 goals, he was good. The first goal, look, it was an open goal. You'd be pretty pissed if he missed that. The second goal, he got a great ball from Granite, and we'll just think about that for a minute. He got a great ball from Granite, okay? Right. But what I'm getting at is he missed 2 very good chances as well. I won't just mention him. I don't know if the first one was a big miss as people are making out as.
It was.
You think it was?
They were both. They're both very bad misses.
Okay. Yeah, and that was the other thing was Aubameyang. I thought he had a good miss as well. So.
This is the. I wanted to kill Lacazette when he missed them 2 chances. I think they're both bordering on unforgivable misses. But again, I'm going to praise him for being there because that's not what he usually does. And yesterday we saw Aubameyang play very wide. He switched between left and right a few times, but each time he was wide. And when my criticism has always been of Lacazette that when he's playing as the 9, he vacates the positions where you score goals. And yesterday he essentially was a 9 on his own. I know we've got Aubameyang there who joins in attacks late at the back post usually. But in general, Lacazette was a 9 on his own yesterday. And every attack pretty much he was in the position to score goals. So again, I'm going to give him credit for that. The misses are very bad. But it happens. It's happened to Aubameyang. It's happened to... I mean, you can name anyone. Whoever. I mean, we saw Mo Salah's miss against Liverpool the other day. For Liverpool against Barcelona in the Nou Camp, which is going to be huge in their tie. It can happen, but again, at least he's in the positions, and I want to see that from him more often. I said this earlier in the season, and then he's had a few games of not doing that again. So we'll see. I don't think if you're talking about Aubameyang's volley, I don't think that's a horrendous miss. It's not in the same category as the Lacazette misses. I mean, I wish I cared about XG at this point because that would almost certainly back me up. Aubameyang probably should do better, but I mean, a swivel volley is a lot harder than... I mean, the header is easy. The other chance is even easier. He was inside the 6-yard box, had time to take 3, 4, 5 touches if he wanted. Tried to give the keeper the eyes, and for me, you just lift that and it goes in. And he give the keeper the eyes and then put it along the deck. But, as I said, credit for being in the positions. I wanted to kill him at the time, but...
But you had time to think.
Yeah, well, do you know what? I'm going to ruin my man of the match vote here, but it's kind of the right time to say it. If we would have won that game 2-1, despite him scoring 2 goals, I wouldn't have given him man of the match because I think that in the whole context of the tie, that 3rd goal was so important. But having won it 3-1, I would give him man of the match because he's had 2 massive contributions, and I know it's kind of counterproductive thinking. Yeah. But it's just them 2 moments are less important than they would have been had it only been 2-1.
Yeah, no, I'm hearing you. Shree, you got anything on that, mate?
Yeah, the one thing I have on the Aubameyang chance is that he probably has more time than he thinks he does. He can probably take a touch there because the defender is totally sold. He I think buys the decoy run of someone who's running in the middle. I think it's Ozil. I may be wrong. But the defender is totally done, and he has a couple of extra seconds that he does not realize. He can probably control it and finish it, but he tries for the volley, and I'm not going to fault him for that. It's a split-second decision. He makes the decision. He's unlucky there. But the one caveat being, he had more time than he thought he did.
Just to back that up, Granit, after Aubameyang missed a chance, when I watched I didn't see it at the ground, but when I watched the highlights this morning, Granit said to him, you could have took two, like you had time to take a touch. Obviously, it's easy to say it after the chance has gone, but it's just agreeing with Shree's point.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. The defender is like totally done. He's turned. He's like running towards goal. He's nowhere in the position to catch Aubameyang at that point.
Did you boys notice, and I'll go to you in a minute, Shree, as well, do you think that we just played that one too many passes at times, Tony?
No, not for me. No, not at all. I feel like No, look, it was difficult because they switched at 2-1. They were, as I said, we expected them to park the bus and they didn't. Even at 1-0 up, they were still coming for us. And then I don't know if at half-time that their manager said to them, like, yeah, if you can get a chance, take it, but 2-1 is not the worst result. And when you have so many men behind the ball like they did, you can't just... You do have to force passes. And there's so many people there that you are going to give the ball away at times. And that's what happens. You try and make a pass that's going to kill a team or cut them apart. They're not 100% passes. They're not the passes that you get from, say, a Jorginho at Chelsea who gets 98% pass completion every game, but they don't go anywhere. They're the passes that you're going to get 20 or 30% completion, but when they do go through, you score or you have a very, very good chance. And I think that's what it was. It looked like we're losing the ball a lot around the edge, but that's because you're trying to cut apart 6, 7, 8 defenders with one ball.
Mm-hmm. Shree, you agree with all that, mate?
Yeah, I agree with all of that. The one thing I did notice was every time Ozil and Granit moved to the right and the left only had Kolasinac and Aubameyang, I just thought the left was technically so much weaker than the right. Kolasinac, at least the first 20 minutes, he couldn't pass the ball. He couldn't make easy 5-yard passes in front of him to his right. He was horrendous on the ball for the first 20 minutes. And then even after that, his crossing, it wasn't the greatest, but then I had some sympathy with him that you can only put the ball in the area and then it's up to the attackers to make the run. But every time Granit and Ozil were in the same flank, I just felt like the other flank would just had no technical quality at all. That was my one observation from yesterday.
Okay. Yeah, look, I noticed a little bit like that myself. And Tony, you made a good point. I just felt that maybe we're just going looking for that one too many at times in the box and different things. But you know, when you got so many sitting back, you pretty much have to, haven't you? So, Torreira on, Guendouzi off. Tony, you know, that was pretty 2-1. That was.
Yeah, it took longer than I thought. I thought he was going to do it at half time, to be honest. Yeah.
Mkhitaryan on, Ozil off. I thought Ozil was good. Look, Mkhitaryan's had glimpses of brilliance, but I don't trust him.
No, I think he was good in however many minutes he played yesterday, but I know exactly what you mean. Look, I thought Ozil had a very good game yesterday in un-Ozil-like ways. I thought the amount of tackles and recoveries he made, as I said for the goal, he made a lung-bursting run off the ball. The Aubameyang volley that we were just talking about, as Shree said, it was Ozil that made the break through the middle that dragged the defender away. He ran his absolute bollocks off, and I'm not saying he doesn't usually because he's regularly top 2 or 3 in the most run on the pitch, but I think it was more noticeable yesterday, or there was more sprints. I don't know, even I noticed it more, that he just put himself about that bit more. And it could have just been that that Emery's seen that and it's flagged up that he may be entering the red zone or he's a little bit tired. The sub wasn't a reflection of his performance. Well, I don't think it was. I think it was just, as I said, you needed to bring fresh legs and get a bit more energy on because Ozil had worked so hard in that, whatever it was, 70 minutes.
And then, Monreal was the other one, Koscielny off. So.
Do you know, Koscielny was struggling from about the 10th minute. I was amazed he lasted as long as he did. I don't mean struggling performance-wise. I mean, like, he didn't look mobile. He every now and then he'd pop up a little limp and then he'd be all right again, or he'd feel a muscle and then go down again. It was strange because he looked bad and then he'd make a lung bursting run and make a great tackle and then he'd be limping again. It was a weird one, but from very early on, Koscielny was struggling. And it's also unusual that when we play a back three, Koscielny tends to play in the middle. But yesterday he played on the left, which is obviously going to require more running. And I don't know if that's what caused it. But he was struggling very early on and he done well to get as long as he did.
You thought he had a good game?
Yeah, he was decent. He made one goal-saving header that was unbelievable. I mean, especially from my view in the ground, they crossed the ball in and I just saw Guedes running onto it and I thought, goal, 2-2 it would have been at that point. And Koscielny just come out of nowhere with a diving header to clear it. I thought he had a good game. No complaint. Again, it's not a 9 out of 10, but there's no complaints. He done well.
And Sri Aubameyang for the last goal, mate, in the 90th minute, and that makes it 3-1.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most important goal of the tie. Again, good work by Lacazette there. He shielded the defender, so Kolasinac got some space to cross the ball. Kolasinac did what he does, flash the ball across. Although he was a little more subtle this time and didn't just blast it across. I think Kolasinac gets less credit than he deserves for his crossing. I think he's generally pretty good. And every time before he crosses, he does look up. He's not one of those just flash it across and then hope for the best kind of crosses. I think he has a little more subtlety than people give him credit for. I think it's his overall appearance that points people towards him just being a very brute kind of a footballer. But I think in the final third at least, he's better than people give him credit for, as I said. And I think, I did not expect Aubameyang to finish that, but he's done those kind of finishes quite a bit, I think, this season. I think he scored a couple of goals from that kind of an angle. Again, good finish. I think the keeper should do better, but I don't know if it was. I heard it at some other podcast that their keeper has had a really good season. I did not see. I thought he could have done better in all three of the goals. But yeah, good finish by Aubameyang and a really, really important goal in terms of the whole tie.
Yeah, absolutely. We go into it 3-1 in the next leg. Tony, we've discussed plenty of times what's the tactics, and that last goal. That's a classic Emery tactic. Run Kolasinac down the wing, cross it in, and the Aubameyang's in the box.
Yeah, it actually came from quite a weird source because Lacazette had a shot from distance, just deflected, got the second. It is a great ball from Kolasinac. It's a really good ball. And a few weeks ago we had a question. I can't remember who it was from. Sorry. And they said, "Is Aubameyang's movement really that good? Because he always seems to be in space, but you don't see him do anything." Watch that goal. I mean, look, the finish is good. It's a hard angle. It's one of them you don't get credit for because you're only a yard or two out, but it's a good finish. But the movement for that is unbelievable. And people might not have even seen it. He runs in, gets a defender on the ball, pulls out, and he's standing on his own. All that in the space. Over 3 yards, he's gained 3 yards on the defender, just with a simple piece of movement. I disagree that the keeper could have done better. I thought it was just one of them. It went through the defender's legs, essentially. And as I said, he's a yard out and the keeper's pedalling across the goal because he's at the near post from the cross. I do agree on the other two goals. I thought the keeper could have done better on the other two, to be fair.
I thought the defender probably got in the keeper's way a little bit because he tried to block it with his leg, and I thought, maybe he's got in his way a bit.
I mean, if you see the camera that was in the goal, where that ball was so close to the post, it was probably an inch away from grazing the post and going in. I don't think that's savable. I think the defender puts his body there, and if it hits him, it hits him. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's not a. It's one there when you put your body in a certain position and hope. But I don't think that's savable, to be honest. I think it's, as I said, it might hit someone, but if it goes through clean, it is in.
Yeah. Your man of the match, Lacazette, was it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. Shri, your man of the match?
Yeah, it has to be Lacazette, hasn't it?
Shri, would you have given him it if it was 2-1?
Yes, I think so. I don't think anyone else played as. I think he worked his socks off this game, and I can genuinely say, not just his whole persona of him. He runs a lot, or he gives, or the passion merchant, or whatever. But I think he really did put in a lot of effort in this game, which was tangible effort, as in it was not just him waving his hands around or doing those kind of stuff. But I think he pressed really well in the front. All of our front three pressed really well, pressed smartly, and pressed areas, stopped passing lanes instead of just pressing the man. I think all three of them played really well. But then when you scored 2 goals, I think you've got to give it to Lacazette.
I agree, actually. He did work his nuts off. And as you said, it was relevant work rather than work for the sake of work. As I said, my reason for not giving him if it was 2-1, just because I think the not the bad moments, but the misses would have been so vital in the tie. And if we go out and if we went there and lost 1-0, they're the 2 moments you would have been blaming. Whereas if we now go out and 2-0, you go, if Lacazette would have scored, but it's not as big of a problem. So, as I said, I know it's a kind of warped logic from me, but as I said, at 2-1, I don't know who I would have given it to. I hadn't thought about it that far, but I think I'd have just been so pissed off at them missed chances that I would have just picked anyone else.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Who would you have given it to if not Lacazette?
Well, I'd probably give it to Aubameyang, but then that's if he, then he wouldn't have got that third goal.
If that goal doesn't go in, you don't give it to Aubameyang. I mean, I don't know. I think a lot of people. I thought Socrates had a good game. I know a lot, with recovery tackles and stuff. I thought all of the back three were good, to be fair. I think
Mustafi had a good game. He had some really, really good passes. He was working really well with Maitland-Niles. I think Koscielny was really good. The distribution was pretty good, and they shielded the back. They shielded the wing backs really well.
Yeah, as I said, I thought all 3 of the centre backs were good. The only reason I would go Socrates out of the 3 of them is just there was 2 or 3 times where he was the last man, and basically he has to make this tackle or they're in. And one time he ran across and just smashed it into the crowd. The other time he went shoulder to shoulder with moved Guedes off the ball and just came trotting out with it. And they're both key moments. But
yeah, we've got a couple of questions on him later, so I did see.
Yeah, I know. I saw one of them and it was ridiculous, but we'll wait till we get to it.
Yeah. Look, I have to agree with you boys. Lacazette, how do you for the first time?
Has this been the one time Craig didn't do ratings as well?
I don't know. I haven't seen Craig's ratings yet, I
don't think he's done it.
Hasn't he? Okay. But, obviously Lacazette gets a man of the match. We'll probably give shout out to Kolasinac, Aubameyang, Ozil, Granit. I think Socrates was good too. Who was your worst? That's in a team that you beat 3-1. You score 3 goals. We've probably named about 5-6 players who were good. Who was your worst in there yesterday?
I've not really got anyone, to be honest. I don't look. Guendouzi didn't make a mark on the game. Was he bad?
He done fuck all. He done nothing. No,
he wasn't bad.
No, he wasn't bad though. You can't. I know it's hard.
So yeah, I mean, look, if you had a gun to my head, I'd say him. But it's not a bad performance. I wouldn't want to label anyone as the worst player. He just didn't have an impact. Even as she said, Xhaka gave a lot of balls away early on and didn't have the best start. But then he's got an assist with a good ball, and the ball to Aubameyang when Aubameyang missed that volley was also Xhaka's. So he's left his stamp on the game. Whereas Guendouzi didn't really do anything wrong, but you come out, we'll stop watching the game, whatever you're doing. And I can't name anything good that he done, but I also can't name anything bad he done.
But if El Neni done that and nothing, and we've commented on El Neni previously, on
No, but
passing
Elneny does nothing
sideways.
while going back.
Yeah, okay.
So it kills your flow. At least with Guendouzi, he plays nothing balls, but he plays them forward or sideways, like with intent.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys? What did you guys think of the penalty shout that was there in like the first minute on Lacazette?
Would have been very, very soft for me. Like, it's one of them. The age-old argument is if it's in the centre circle, it's a foul. But we know there's different rules in the penalty area. I know they're not by the rule book, but you'll know what I mean. I want it as an Arsenal fan. If that was given against us, I'd be fuming.
But a similar penalty was given against us when Kolasinac put both hands on the back of a player. I think it was against City or Liverpool. I don't remember, where he put both hands on the player's back and pushed him.
Yeah, Liverpool, and it was Liverpool away, and pretty much everyone moaned about it. And Kolasinac is also very obvious with it, which makes things look worse.
My reason for asking that is because that ball was played by Guendouzi, and that was a really good through ball that Lacazette got at the end of. And I think Guendouzi he generally combines really well with Ozil. I think Ozil trusts him with the ball and gives him the ball, and so that helps, and it keeps the flow ticking. I think sometimes you can see it with Ozil that he doesn't like a player or he doesn't trust a player with the ball, but that's not the case with Guendouzi.
Alrighty, lads, let's get into some questions, and you can ask your questions at @clockend_talk at any time, or we usually throw a tweet out after a game or around about, let everybody know when we're recording next. So let's smash into these, Tony. Andrew says, if we make the Europa League, Tony, in the final, who will replace Mickey? Only reason I say this because when we played, fucking who? Arabag, and he wasn't allowed. He wasn't allowed in the country. That's right.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because I remember at the time there was rumours about if we got to the final, what would happen, and I'm not sure if it was an official thing from Arsenal, but there were statements coming out saying that they think they'd be able to get like special dispensation for that day or whatever, because UEFA won't let politics get in the way of football, which is one of their first rules. But then they put a final in Baku to start with, which is beyond the joke. Who replaces him? Don't know. Does he put one of the kids on the bench? How fit is everyone else? There's potentially, we've got to get there first, and there's 3 games between now and then, so you can't answer these things really.
Mm-hmm. Is that where the final is it? They're going to stop him.
Yeah, Baku, which probably isn't really Europe.
COYG says Messi will sign for Arsenal next season. Yeah, wish. I'm going to twist on that though quickly, Tony. Would Messi make this Arsenal team how much better?
Messi amounts.
but does it? No. But our problem is defence. So
any
we're still
team
leak
with
goals.
Messi and it gets better.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find a counter argument on it. He's good, isn't he?
Yeah, a little bit. I think he might make a name for himself.
Lazy Gurner Shri, he says, if we win the Europa League, do you think we'd have a victory parade? I know Emery did it at Sevilla.
I guess so. We had one for FA Cup, so I think a European trophy is definitely worth a victory parade.
Probably better for you, Tony, victory parade.
99.9% we will.
Hakon Larson says, should have scored 4 to 5 goals. Our strikers missed so many golden opportunities. Lucky for them, they both worked hard. Very true. The plug says, how would you set out, Tony, for our next for the away leg?
It depends on fitness again. There's a week to go and a game beforehand, but I'd go back 5 again. If possible, I'd go the same as yesterday, but with Torreira for Guendouzi. I mean, they're going to make the game as messy as possible. It's going to be quite similar to Rennes at home, I think. The difference with Rennes at home is we needed to score 2, whereas obviously now we just need to not lose by 2. But I think you leave that attacking threat there to stop them completely piling on all form of pressure, similar to what we've done at Napoli. And again, the same as Napoli, if we get that first goal, I think it's a long, long night for them. And they've got they're challenging for the top 4 as well. Their situation's quite similar to ours, so they can't rest players on Sunday, and then they've got a cup final coming up against Barcelona as well. So I think if we go 1-0 up, similar to what Napoli done, they just might think it's not worth the chase. So I would go defensive minded in a sense, go and up the bus and take away all of our.
You're just cutting in and out again there, mate. What was that?
I said I wouldn't park the bus. I wouldn't take away all of our attacking intent. I'd go defensive minded, but I would still leave the threat on the pitch that we can score goals.
And I know it's very hard to predict what Valencia do because we don't follow Valencia, and I don't, so I don't even watch any of their games. But now that you're going home 3-1, you're thinking to yourself, as you said, they're competing for a top 4. They probably need that top 4 more than Europa League. Do they take this second leg as serious as the first?
Well, it's the same thing. Or you'd rather win the Europa League because there's a trophy attached and a bit of history. No one remembers who comes fourth in any given season, but you remember if your club's won a European competition.
So they come out for it. Hakon Larson says, can you guys do a keep sell with our players? Example, Mustafi sell. Doesn't matter how much we get or not, just if we would sell or keep. Look, we probably will do that in the summer. We might save that one, eh, Tony?
Yeah.
Something to talk about then. MAA Gunner, what's worse, Tez not reading your question or Tez not really giving 2 fucks what MAA Gunner says? That's about it, MAA Gunner. MAA Gunner, is everyone going to be wishing Juve well from next season apart from Tez? Fuck, this cunt's like a fucking dog with a bone, isn't he? Do you want to talk about Juventus or what?
I was waiting for Shri to answer something.
Shri, what? I don't know, mate. You follow the Serie A. What's your thoughts on Juventus next year?
Nope, couldn't care less.
Couldn't give 2 fucking hoots. Me either.
I want Ramsey to do well.
Yeah, I want Ramsey to do well, but is there an option? Is there a buyback clause? That something can we do something to get Ramsey back?
Just kidnap him.
Yeah, can we send Suarez instead? He looks like him.
MAA Gunner, describe Czech's season. Had problems passing from the back, but apart from that, he was decent and was a bit unlucky to get injured and lose his place. He's looked good when we brought him in, Tony.
Agreed. I don't think he's really put a glove wrong, I guess is the keeper's term. He can't kick a ball. I've said all season as well, it's more he looks really scared when you make him kick a ball. Like, I maintain Leno's kicking is not the best, but he does it confidently. So you've got that air of you feel comfortable. Where the ball actually goes is never usually great. Whereas Czech, the ball also goes nowhere great, but he looks like he's shitting himself while doing it, and you get nervy and everyone starts panicking just because you can see the fear in his eyes when you put a football near him. But in terms of actually goalkeeping, I think he's been good every time he's been called upon, pretty much.
I just want to backtrack on, I should have mentioned it when we were talking quickly about Ramsey. I read earlier in the week he's gone for the season, Tony. It's a bit of a shame.
Yeah, well, that's him. Yeah, he's done now. I'm hoping a guard of honour for him, and Czech will get one by association on Sunday, our last home game. Not a good way to end what's been a good career at Arsenal. I think we're realising even the people that have slated him for years are probably now realising what we are losing. And it could get emotional on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Is he not available for the final as well?
He said he's done. His statement said he's finished. I think the thing is, even there's 2 weeks between our last game and the final, and I think it's one of them things that he won't have played for a month, even if he is back fit a week before. But his statement did say that he's played his last game in an Arsenal shirt.
And on the Czech thing, the other thing between Leno and Czech is that Czech is extremely left-footed. He cannot kick with his right foot, and he's legit scared when he has to move the ball to his right foot. So that also
scared on his left foot.
He is, but he cannot kick with his right foot. So that's another thing.
MAA Gunner says Craig can finally do his ratings without Tony raking the piss. Wish this lad had fucking learned how to fucking spell. He's up me about reading fucking questions. It's fucking T, you cunt, with a fucking T for taking, you fucking clown.
I think Craig's gone on strike and not done the ratings anyway, so...
Yeah, usually he pops up and says, I've done the ratings, boys, but I haven't seen. What's going on, Craig? MAA Gunner says, how was your Tuesday evening? I don't know, Tony. Was there something happened Tuesday?
Well, that for you was probably 3 weeks ago, so I assume he's talking about the Tottenham game, which was very nervy at times. After the first half hour, I thought it was on easy street and the Dutch could start booking their way to the final, but they kind of fell apart a bit. And I'm worried about it. I know a lot of people are going, they're winning and they've got the home leg to come, but I think it was you, Tez, I said the other day that Ajax haven't won at home in the knockout stage. And I know they only need a draw, but I mean, they lost 2-1 there to Real Madrid, and that result would take Tottenham through, which is a bit worrying. So I'm not confident on that, to be honest, just because it's them. Just because with every part of me, I don't want them to go through. It makes you start questioning things and whatnot. But my Tuesday evening was good, but could have been better. Is probably the answer.
Yeah, it was Wednesday morning for me. Yeah, I don't know. I look like everyone. I like this Ajax team. I think it'll be Ajax Barcelona. But then when you said the home thing, I thought, oh shit, that could be a bit hairy. So, yeah. What games Spurs got before that? I haven't looked it up.
The other thing is an Ajax goal doesn't matter because Tottenham need 2 anyway. So if Tottenham can come out all attacking, it really doesn't matter if they concede.
Is Socrates overrated? I don't mean to say he's shit. He's clearly not. But then I don't think his leadership skills are strong. I'll go to you, Shreve.
Nope. He's perfectly well rated. He's a really good defender. He's strong in tackles. He's probably our second best defender in terms of quality after Koscielny. In terms of if you put the availability, quality, and all of that bits together, I think he's our best defender. He's been the most consistent through the season. I don't think he's overrated.
You agree with that, Tony?
Yeah, I do. I've said earlier, I think it's a weird question, especially like why do you have to be a leader to be rated? Like Varane isn't a leader. Ramos does it all. Is Varane overrated? Not for me. I mean, you could go through like PK now has come out to have a bit more leadership, but he played with Puyol for years, who done everything, like who done all the leadership. So was PK shit then, and now suddenly that Puyol's gone, that PK is now it can be rated fairly? I don't understand why you have to be a leader why you're overrated if you're not a leader.
I wonder whether he's talking about talking to talking to a Mustafi probably is one. And setting the defence and stuff.
Varane doesn't do that. Varane shit. Fuck it. We don't want Varane. Yeah. He don't talk. Ramos does it. No, that Varane geezer, World Cup winner, brilliant, worth 100 million. That shit. Don't want him.
I think it's the romantic idea of like a huge, towering, shouting centre back that everyone has, to like Sir John Terry, Ferdinand. It's just that romantic idea. But I think Socrates is perfectly good. He's a really good defender. He reads the game well. he is a little impetuous at times. He goes into tackles that he doesn't need to, but he's really good. I think he's definitely one of the better buys of the summer.
And just to again add to that, it should always, your slowest defender should always be your leader, not your fastest, because they can recover. There's a reason that Mertesacker was the leader over Koscielny, because if they went 5 yards too high, Koscielny's pace might be able to cover it. Mertesacker was never going to. And if you look at most defensive, I'm not saying all, because there obviously is exceptions, but most defensive partnerships, the slower one is the guy who runs the line. Even you can look as far back as Tony Adams, who is arguably the best leader in Premier League history, from a centre-back especially. Like, you can argue Roy Keane maybe have been a better captain, but for a centre-back, Adams is the one that you think of in the whole of Premier League, and anyone he played with was quicker than him. Even John Terry, a lot of the time he was with Carvalho, who was quicker than him. At times Gallas, who was quicker than him. Probably other partners throughout the years I'm forgetting, but they were always quicker than Terry because he couldn't run. The slower person has to call the line.
That makes sense. How many goals? So this is Pierre Bemrick Aubameyang. He asked that question, goal on boot. How many goals would Aubameyang get if he was in his true position, Tony?
It's a difficult one because although he offers next to nothing in build-up when he's playing on either wing, him arriving late in the box, as I said, his positioning and movement is so good, he always seems to be in the right place. His scoring doesn't really seem to be affected when he's playing wide. Our game is worse when he's playing wide. As a whole, Arsenal are a worse team. But his goal scoring doesn't really seem to take a hit. I think if we had people that got the ball in the box more, he would score a shed load more goals. Or just people that stretched the defence. So we were talking last week about having proper wide men, which pulled the fullbacks out and created more spaces, where because we've got no wide men, everyone defends narrow, and there's so many people in the box, there's not as much room for him to move into because there's naturally a defender there. But I don't actually think if he played out and out as a 9 for every game, yeah, he would score more goals, but I don't think it would be as drastic as people think.
I'm just, as you're talking then, I'm thinking, and I don't want to criticise him on that because he has been good, Lacazette, and I am a fan of Lacazette, unlike Tony. I'm just not, I appreciate what he does in the workload, but what I'm getting at is the chances Lacazette has missed throughout the season, does Aubameyang get them?
Not always. Aubameyang's shown he can miss some very good chances, and he has this season missed a few, as Lacazette. I just think his movement and his, I don't want to say the want to score goals, but there's no other word for it. He wants to score more goals than Lacazette. He gets in them positions. He's always in them positions. You never see a time where we're in the box and Aubameyang is standing out wide, not involved in the play, or we're in the box and Aubameyang is 30 yards away, where you do see that with Lacazette. And that's fine. Like, Lacazette is better at build-up, and Aubameyang is better in the box. It's not a comparison. It's two different skills. I can't say that if all of them Lacazette chances fell to Aubameyang, he'd have scored more, because look, he is capable of missing some big chances.
I'll stick with you for a minute, Tony, because it's about footballers. So he wants to know, the footballers talk about each other, for example, in their games that they've played, and he mentions Ozil and Mo, Kolasinac, is it? Yeah, they all seem good buddies. But could you find them talking about how shit or excellent another player was in a game?
Yeah, I actually saw this question come in. I can't remember if it was last night as I was getting back from the game or this morning. I saw this on my phone, and it 100% happens. Like, it's one of them things that I think fans probably think it's only reserved for like Sunday League when you're playing with your mates and one of them's sort of too fat to play, but you need 11 players. So he's the one that you put him in the team just so you've got 11, but you will talk about him. But it 100% happens, and I've been around players when it's happened. It
does
just happens.
Yeah, okay. They are human.
It's like anything. If you're in a team with anyone at anything, and someone's shit or not good enough, like, you're not going to say it to them, or you might even say it to them, but you're definitely going to talk about it when they're sort of not around or whatnot. One of my actually bugbears with Arsenal is that we don't recognise each other's lack of quality at time. So as I've said it a million times on here, if Granit's got his back to goal and the keeper's got the ball at his feet and there's a 20-yard pass into midfield, but Granit's got two players like bearing down on him, don't give him the ball, because you know he's not good in that position. Whereas if it's, say, an Ozil, you're more comfortable with giving him the ball in that position because he doesn't really feel pressured. Ozil doesn't really crumble under that pressure from defenders. But Arsenal don't seem to recognise that.
Actually, funny you say that, because I noticed yesterday's game, Ozil and Granit, every time Guendouzi got the ball, they'd type a point to where, look, you pass it to obviously they weren't in a position to take the ball, so they'd tell him to pass it back or pass it this way. That's probably just a little bit of, their leadership skills coming through for the young bloke.
Possibly. I mean, you get it. That's common. I wouldn't even say it's just with Guendouzi. You often get people either calling for it or saying what they think is the best pass, especially your more creative players, because you decide to think they've built a picture in their head of what's going to happen. But yeah, it's just certain things. It's like you don't give Elneny the ball on a break when you're breaking forward because you know he's not going to play an incisive pass in general. And I think Arsenal sometimes need to be a bit more ruthless with their own players. It's nothing against them, but he's not capable of playing that pass, so don't put him in a position where he has to. But yeah, they definitely, that's what I'm saying. I know they talk about these things, but then they're not ruthless enough on the pitch, I think. Okay.
Vish says, Shri, does a back three suit Mustafi better? He seems to be a confident player, and his erratic displays could stem from him not being confident in a back four. I'm just trying to reason why he can be a 7 to 8 out of 10 in one game and a 3 out of 4 in another game.
He has made huge mistakes even in back three. It's not so. The question with Mustafi has never been his competency or his talent. It's always been his application and his consistency of application, which is often missing. We've tried back three, we've tried back two, we've tried him at right back. We've done everything that's possible with Mustafi. I think his rope at Arsenal is pretty much done. I think he will be sold this summer. I think he should be sold this summer. He's not dropping 6 or 7 and then 3. He's dropping 7 and then 1s or 0s out of 10. So it's how many points are you willing to give up in a season because you want to keep Mustafi? I think it's a pretty straightforward choice. I think he needs to be sold, and yeah, he's been given enough chances at Arsenal. He's proved that he cannot apply himself at full concentration at the highest level for consistent period of time, and that's not acceptable.
Agree with that, Tony?
Yeah, I think he had a good game yesterday, so people are trying to put a reason by it, and then if he plays bad in a 5 next game or next week or at some other point, they'll just say, oh, he's shit again. It's just him. He's too impetuous. His decision-making is a joke, and that doesn't matter who's around him. It is frustrating because when he is good, he is capable of having very good games. He attacks the ball very well. He is pretty calm. I don't think he has the ability to be as calm as he is, but it is just very frustrating when you see him play like that and you think, oh, maybe this is it. He needs to play in a free and he's got the security then. But I mean, you've seen him be shit in every situation.
Vish says, who would be the ideal 2 midfielder signings within our tight budget who can come in solidly or solidify our weak midfield? He feels someone like Naby Keita mould, who can power through the midfield, driving the team further up the pitch, as well as a good shield for the defence. Tone?
Again, this is another one I saw come in, and I think Keita's shit. He's another one that offers nothing. I don't think he particularly drives forward. It was funny. I was watching the Liverpool-Barcelona game the other day, and they said something. I can't remember exactly what it is. But they're like, Keita's got 4 goals in his last 5 games. Yeah, he's also got 4 goals in his last 50 games. They just happen to have been in the last month. Like, you can swing stats however you want. Look, I wouldn't take him at Arsenal.
You would?
Like, no.
Is he better than what we got, though? I think that's...
It's not always that. Does he fit in? Who do you take out? I'd prefer Torreira and Xhaka over him. Look, let's be honest. Liverpool starting midfield in a big game in general. I know Keita started the other day, but that's because Firmino didn't play. But in general, it's Milner, Wijnaldum, and Fabinho. So I would prefer a Wijnaldum to a Keita every day of the week.
What do you think, Shroy?
Sorry, mate. The person who is supposed to do this isn't at Arsenal anymore, isn't he? We can discuss it all as much as we want, but the person who is supposed to look for cheap midfielders or cheap players who could potentially be world beaters is no longer at Arsenal, and I don't know who's going to be doing all of this for us. But off the top of my head, I cannot think of anyone who would improve our midfield on a budget. I think there are plenty of centre backs who would improve our team, but I don't think midfield. We need to replace Ramsey. That's I think priority 1, or pretty close to being priority 1. But Ramsey is the best there is, and how do you replace the best with someone else? I think it's a bit of an issue, I think, and I guess we'll figure out as time goes.
Yeah, I don't know.
And boys, just as we speak, Lacazette has been named the Player of the Year for us. I just saw it on Twitter.
Yeah, Tej, remember we had that debate ages ago?
Yeah.
And you remember what I said?
Yep, he was going to be the Player of the Year. He gets the most votes, so he's loved by all the Arsenal fans, isn't he? Really?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I called it in February, and I remember at the time we'd done a poll, and I said the exact percentage that it would be, or within, I didn't say it'd be 67%, but I said within the right bracket, 60 to 70% or whatever it was. I'm just trying to open this article quickly to see what percent he got.
Who would you give it to, Shree? And take Lacazette out for a minute.
Leno. I think for me it's been Leno.
Leno? Okay.
Yeah, I think he's been extremely consistent. He's made a few blunders, but he's also saved us way too many points throughout the season. I think Aubameyang is a close second, but I think I'd go for Leno. Again, it's insulting. It's funny that we are talking about Player of the Year and the guy who scored 25 goals is coming in third, but that's how shit our season has been.
Yeah. Well, for me, look, obviously Aubameyang's worth a definite shout, but I wonder whether Ramsey also gets a shout because the guy since he's been injured, we've been so poor. So, but then he wasn't playing at the start.
If we look at it that way, Holding would get it.
Holding, yeah, true, Holding.
Neither of them have played enough.
They haven't played enough games.
That was my point.
Yeah. Tony, you were going to talk about an article or something?
Oh, sorry. I'm trying to see who came second and third and whatnot, and it's not listed by what I can see. But he got 35% of the votes, Lacazette. But I don't know who else done what because it's not. It's not here.
Not there. Okay.
They're just talking about moments from the season and goals he scored. But nothing on who came second, third, what percentages anyone else got. So I don't know if it was close or.
Okay. Sorry, Shree. I just quickly before we get off track, Tony, give me a player because I asked Shree and take Lacazette out.
Aubameyang.
Yeah. Okay.
You take away 25 goals and we're nowhere in any competition. And as I've said many times this season, I think we can play. Aubameyang can play without Lacazette. He's better when Lacazette's there, but he can play without Lacazette, whereas Lacazette can't play without Aubameyang.
Torreira's worth a shout too. But his form has dropped.
For me, he's been too phasey. Like, he's had a really good spell, and then he was... look, I don't know whether it's tiredness, not having a Christmas break, or whatever it was, but between, say, December and February, pretty much, he was not good, would be a compliment.
Mm-hmm. Go on, Trey, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, do you think the result would be different if they sent out the poll now?
No.
Oh, you mean because Lacazette had a good game against Valencia, or he's on form?
No, I mean, the polls were done over time. It wasn't like it was just...
But I think the bulk of the voting happens around the time when they release it. And I was just thinking, maybe if the poll was sent out like a couple of days ago before the Valencia game, I think people like Leno and Socrates might have had a better chance, because our attack wasn't firing, and Leno pretty much has been our best player for the last 2-3 weeks, which would have clouded the decision.
I mean, you only need to look on Arsenal Twitter, and I don't mean the club's Twitter, I mean the fan base. Lacazette was always going to win that award. They could have voted it at pretty much any time of the year, any day of the week, any hour of the day, any minute of the hour, any second of the minute. Lacazette wins that poll this season.
Well, I'll give you an idea. I think every poll, like every now and we don't do it every game, but we've put out a poll on Twitter for your man of the match. And if Lacazette's listed in them four, he wins it by an absolute mile. Whether he's had a good game or not, and whether we've jumped on here and said he was our best. There's been times that we've said, an Aubameyang or a Ramsey or even an Ozil. And we've thrown Lacazette in the poll, and Lacazette still won that poll. Look, and I like that everyone loves a player, but he is he gets so much love from the Arsenal fan base.
Well, even if you don't include him, you get questioned, where's Lacazette?
Yeah.
Like, it's just he's on people's minds all the time, and look, fair enough, no problem. But that just, when you get polls like this, you know who's going to win it.
Sandeep, oh Jesus Christ. Will Tony admit that he is moly? Oh, for fuck's sake.
Fucking not another one.
You've been accused of this a few times, haven't you?
Yeah. I don't know what more I can say. I mean, if I had a platform that big, was it 25, 30,000 followers, I would seriously abuse it. Like, do you know how much I'd force my opinions down people's throat? I do it now, and we've only got 7,000. I wish I would sell that account instantly.
Oh, fucking hell. Sandeep, what the fuck was Maitland-Niles thinking with that header back towards Czech? Really happy with the result. Shree?
I thought Maitland-Niles was really off for the first 10-15 minutes. He had some really brain fade moments. He did that one turn right in the middle in front of our box when two players were converging on him. I had my balls in my mouth for a second. He stopped and he turned, and if he had got a nick there, he would have been absolutely killed. And even the chance that they had where the guy blazed over from like two yards out, him and Guendouzi get so impetulant. They fight for the ball, they lose it, they stand there, complain to the referee while the guy is gone and then crossed. He does have those moments in him, but I think overall he then improved. And then he was pretty good on the ball. He made some really good runs down the right. He combined well with whoever was there on the right with him, I think. And yeah, I think he improved, but he definitely needs to improve on his concentration, because he has way too many of those moments, especially when he's off the ball. On the ball, he's fairly good. Off the ball, he does not make good decisions.
Sandeep says we still have a chance at the top four. Jesus, I'm a betting man, and I don't know if I'd be having a bet for Arsenal at the moment. But anyway, look, I hope you're right, buddy. I think we should take each game as it comes, and we have a real go. What do you guys think? And when is Schwinn coming back, Tony?
We sacked him. Who's Schwinn? What's going on with Schwinn?
Never heard of Schwinn.
Yeah, no, he will be back in a couple of weeks because you're not here. and I don't have the recording software. So if he's not here, he's letting the whole world down. So no pressure, buddy. Look, I said last week about the top four. I think it's a disgrace for the Premier League as a whole that we're still in with a shout, but I really think we are, because I think Chelsea will drop points. And if they do it this weekend, Watford at home, and then we win on Sunday, well, we're both playing Sunday, but I think we're playing after them. Even if not, even if we're playing at the same time. If they drop points, we win, we go above them. And then there's all sorts of pressure on both teams going into that last game of the season. They've got Leicester away, which we've just seen isn't easy. We've got Burnley away, which isn't easy. And the pressure is going to get to someone, probably us. But we are, as I said, I don't think we deserve to be, but we're still in. I think people are writing it off, and I don't think they should.
So you're ruling Manchester United out in that?
United will get 6 points, but I think if Chelsea get 4, I think they still finish above them.
Yeah, okay. What's your thoughts, Shree?
I think, I agree with Tony. I think this, it's been a bit of a shit show, the top 4 race. It seems like no one wants it. I don't think we'll win at Burnley. I think we'll draw, but we've been pretty lucky at Burnley over the past few years, and we somehow get under their skin. Like Burnley fans, at least when I watch it from the TV, Burnley fans really, really hate us. I don't know if Tony can jump in on this. He goes to the games, but I feel like we really get under Burnley's skin, and it'd be really nice to pull up for last-minute winner against them. We did that, I think, 2 years in a row. But I think Chelsea will still make it to the top 4. I think we'll lose out.
Burnley is just a real hostile place. Like, it's like a world of its own. I think they pretty much hate everyone. I think they hate life itself, to be honest. Look, us getting 2 last-minute winners in a row, 3 and 1 at home as well, so 3. In the last 2 years, we've had 3 last-minute winners against them, and at least 2 of them, probably all 3 of them, were a bit unjustified, to be honest. One was offside and handball, and the other 2 were penalties, and I don't think either of them were, really. And that's always going to create a bit more need or a bit more hatred. And on top of that, they hate everyone anyway. So there is an atmosphere. I mean, they're safe now. I'm hoping that they just can't be bothered and their players' heads are on the beach already, but they're not the kind of team that'll do that. I don't think Sean Dyche will let them do that. Also, they're playing tonight, which gives them a week, 9 days between now and playing us, whereas we'll be playing Sunday, Thursday, and then going to play them on Sunday. So they'll be a lot more fresher than us. But we've got to get the job done on Sunday first, I think. We've got to look at beating Brighton at home and then seeing where we are. As I said, if Chelsea lose, if United lose, if United drop points, there's so many situations to be reevaluated come 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. on Sunday.
Okay, that RC fella, he says, I've been trying to work out which positions we need to focus on in the summer, but it's hard without knowing what formation or style of play Emery will install next season. What formation and style of play do you think we should set up for, Shree?
I don't think Emery knows what formation or style he wants to play. So we're way far away from setting a style of play. It's weird because he played high press or high intensity press at least yesterday and against Napoli, but there was no signs of any pressing against Crystal Palace. I think we would have won that game if we had pressed better or if we had put any pressure on them while they were on the ball, but we didn't do anything of that sort. Wolves, I don't think you can press. It's better to sit back, but we had a shit game. We didn't press against Leicester, but we pressed again today. And arguably, without our best presser in the midfield, like Torreira, I think, is our best exponent of pressing the ball, and we didn't have him, but we still managed that better. I think that's one thing that I see, is that he wants intensity. He wants people to run, and apart from that, I don't see a style or a tactic. But I think it's just fluidity, I guess, switching tactics and tinkering while it while the game happens and looking at opposition. That it's reactive. That's all I can say.
That RC fella says, fantastic result last night. Proud of the way the boys got themselves back into the match. Valencia seemed to be in control at 1-0. Did Emery make a subtle changes at this point to get us back ahead by half time, Tony?
No, and this isn't a criticism of Emery. Just nothing changed. They carried on going for the game, and it left a space. And as stupid as it sounds, 1-0 and 1-1 are very different. Suddenly they know, they can score against us. Do we leave that space in behind because Aubameyang will get there first? And you start putting doubts in their mind. But nothing really changed apart from the goal. And I think one of the oldest sayings in football is goals change games. Like, how many times, I know it's a different situation, but how many times have you seen teams cruising at 2-0, winning so easy, like the game's just petering out to nothing? The other team gets a goal and suddenly the whole game changes. Everyone starts shitting themselves. I mean, even us against Palace, 1-1 we were dominating. Mustafi makes his mistake. They go 2-1 up. The whole game changed. Like, goals change games. I don't think, again, it's not a criticism. I don't think Emery changed anything. I just think the goal happened and then after that, chaos ensued.
Yeah. That RC fella also says, why isn't Schwinn able to make a phone call for 2 hours a week anymore?
Too busy wanking over dragons.
That's a fucking interesting point, isn't it? A measly 2-hour fucking phone call a week is all he's got to do, and he can't even do it.
They're too busy leading his cult that he thinks isn't a cult until I proved him wrong, and he still hasn't apologised.
Yeah, well, discussing, what's that fucking show he's always banging on about? That little show they talk about.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Game of Thrones, he's waffling on about that and trying to get me and Tony to watch it and blah, blah, blah. And, yeah. So Tony told him to fuck off with his little cult.
You guys should. It's a decent show.
Oh, no. Shree, this is your last time on the podcast, mate.
It was fun.
AKM AA Gunner says, how come since Napoli away, our defence gets split faster than a condom that Dele Alli's dad uses? I don't know, since the Napoli game, has it?
Well, since the Napoli game, we conceded three games in a row. And then only one yesterday, so I guess that's a slight improvement.
But I don't think it's...
Aaron Ramsey. The answer to all of life's questions is Aaron Ramsey.
If he's there, you don't concede as many, do you think?
Well, you press better. You're forced to press better. And it's a stupid saying, but it is like having two men in the midfield when he's there, the amount of work he gets through.
Do you think we do better against Wolves when he's there? I thought that game he couldn't have done anything.
I think we lost that game as soon as he went forward at the back. As soon as I saw the team sheet, I knew we'd lost. I think I even said on the podcast the day before, if we go, or whenever we recorded it, if we go with 4, we've lost. I think you could have had Messi, Ronaldo, Pele, Maradona, Cruyff, but if you go over back 4 against them, you're really going to struggle.
Yeah, fair enough.
He also, as well, the other mistake that game was Lacazette. Well, not a mistake because Aubameyang was ill or injured or whatever, but going 4 at the back and Lacazette as a 9 on his own without Ramsey to make up that extra body was never ever going to work.
I've just read fucking Vish's next question. Vish says, Tez, if someone could magically ensure that Arsenal win the Premier League and Champions League back-to-back for the next 5 years, but only one condition, that you shag Tony and Schwinn every match day, what would you do? I can fucking tell you right now, Vish, I wouldn't touch them fuckers with your dick, mate. Simple as that, brother. I'm happy fucking sticking to me top 4 and struggling for Europa League final.
Fuck it, get relegated.
Yeah, I'd take relegation. Anyway, I'm going to bail straight out of that because I'm going to get myself fucking shot if I talk that fucking about that anymore. I'll just double check. There's 2 notifications popped in. No, all good. Okay, we've got Brighton coming up. Tony, what's your thoughts there? Because then we've got well, your days are different to mine, but on my calendar it's 4-day rest.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then,
the amount of days in between games is still the same.
I just realised that after I said it. I was a fucking idiot. 4-day rest, Valencia for the second leg, and then is it a 3-day rest for Burnley?
Yeah. But Leno will come back in. Right back, it's difficult because you assume Mustafi's going to have to play right back, but looking at Koscielny yesterday, he probably can't play on Sunday. So then you go Socrates and maybe Mavropanos. And then Monreal left back because Kolasinac is as fit as Kolasinac is. I think Guendouzi starts. He can't, after the stick he's taken for playing Guendouzi on Nenny twice now, he can't play them again. So I don't know if he brings Torreira alongside Guendouzi because he played the shortest amount of time yesterday and he saves. I don't know if I would do that because I don't think that provides enough forward passing emphasis, but I think he's going to have half an eye on Thursday. I think Mickey Iwobi come in. I think he'll play both strikers. I think he's found something he likes. I think that's probably the only part of the team he's pretty sure on is that he needs to get them both on the pitch. And whether he does it with Iwobi left, Mickey right, or Mickey 10, Aubameyang right, and Lacazette as a 9, or whether he puts them both up top, remains to be seen. Especially, I think he's going to expect Brighton to park the bus as well, because a point absolutely guarantees they're safe. I mean, they're safe anyway, but a point absolutely guarantees it. And I think if he expects Brighton to park the bus, you've got to play both strikers.
Do you think he plays both strikers in the next 3 games?
Depending on what happens with Chelsea, yes.
Okay.
Because between Burnley is the 12th and the final is the 29th. So if we can still get top 4 on the 12th, if there's still a chance he plays them both, and then there's 17 days rest, which is a long time in football.
Mm-hmm. So they'll be right. They'll just power through.
Well, I mean, in the same sense, Chelsea or Frankfurt, I don't know actually about the German calendar, but if it is Chelsea, if we get there and Chelsea get there, they'll also have 17 days rest. So,
okay. Do we beat Brighton?
Yes. And I'll say this now, if we don't, I'm going to put it down to gross mismanagement because I believe the top 4 is still there. If we was completely done with the top 4 like we was last season and Wenger completely bombed off league games, that was fine because a top 4 was never going to happen. Yeah. But I think now, especially with someone like Brighton at home, you give yourself your best chance to do it in two competitions. Because look at the abuse he's going to get from us if we lose on Sunday and Chelsea lose. We'll be here calling him every name under the sun.
Yeah, absolutely. Shree, your thoughts, Brighton game, mate?
I agree on the back 4. I agree on the midfield. I'd be shocked if he played El Neni and Guendouzi again together. I don't think he'll play the 2 up top. I think he'll play only Aubameyang just because Lacazette has already played 90 and he doesn't finish many 90s. And he's just done one yesterday, so I think he'll come off the bench. And then after that, for the next Valencia game, obviously he'll have to play 2 up top, and then we'll go as it, and then he'll probably take it to the floor. But yeah, I think we'll win this one. I think it'll be a good 3-1 kind of game.
Who comes in for him? Ozil?
Yeah, I think Ozil can play. He has he took Ozil off with 65, 70 yesterday,
give or take.
Yeah, I think and Ozil, and he will again rotate. He'll take Ozil off and maybe put Lacazette on, or he could put one of the midfielders on. He's done that. His idea of making the game more attacking is bringing a midfielder on. So probably end up with like 6 midfielders or something.
Now, just we win this game, Shree?
Yep, I think it'll be a solid 3-1.
Okay, last time we played them was back in December. It was a 1-1 draw away. Then we played them back in March, which was a 2-1 to Brighton away. But we beat them comfortably, well, if you say comfortably, October the year before, 2-0 at home. So hopefully, I'm going to say a Brighton Arsenal. An Arsenal win, not a Brighton win. I think 2-0. I do worry though. Like I don't think we'll keep a clean sheet, but I don't know if Brighton have any real attacking threat, have they? So I'm going to say 2-0. I think
they've scored 1 in 8 games.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They haven't got much attacking threat. Okay, boys, it's been a pleasure. That's us. We'll be back Monday, Tony.
Yeah.
We might try and see if that fucking Indian American, South African, Monaco fucking client can come and join us. Schwinn, your fans are calling, mate. You had 2 questions. Where is Schwinn? Surely to Christ you can fucking join the lads for a couple of podcasts. Miserable cunt. Thank you, Shree.
Cheers, mate. No worries.
It's been a pleasure, and as you know, Schwinn's so unfucking reliable. We're going to have a few of these lads on when we feel like it, and they can fill the void. So he's pretty easy replaced, I think. Okay, that's us. Thank you, boys, and thank you, Tony. See you later.